not. That's at the foundation and core of this. And for those on YouTube, I have images up of fathers with their daughters. And this is a very big deal. This is a very big deal. Now, most women in our society don't check feminism. They don't check it. Because feminism feeds the woman's ego. As I've said before, Satan tempted Eve through her ego. You can be like God. That's what got Eve, it's ego. So we know at the core of the woman, her greatest weakness is her ego. Ironically, the powers that be use feminism, stroking the woman's ego, to empower women. So the devil didn't really change his tricks up. He just made it look different. So in the garden, he said you can be like God. And then now today, he says you can be like a man. And really, you can be better than a man. So we know at the core of a woman's Achilles heel, it's her ego. They talk about the male ego, but the male ego is fragile. Meaning that the male's ego is up today and down tomorrow. The woman's ego is not fragile. The woman's ego is not fragile. When women believe something, they'll run off a cliff for it. You all seen the movie Thelma and Louise. They drove off a cliff. So when women believe something, they take it to the extreme. The female ego is not fragile. The male ego is fragile. The male ego is like a roller coaster. If he has a job, it might be up. If he doesn't have a job, it's down. If he got a woman, it's up. He don't have a woman. The male ego is very fragile, very wishy-washy, up and down. The woman's ego is not. The woman's ego is like a mighty mountain that is very hard to move. But if a woman wasn't loved by her father, then how can she love herself? So at the core of it, we know that love is accountability. I got some notes here. Now, once we love ourselves, right, we understand love. Because once we love ourselves, we appreciate someone loving us. So this process works by the father loving the daughter loving herself, then the daughter turning around, appreciating the father loving her. That's how it works. This is why they say you can't love God if you don't love yourself. That's what my boy says. You can't love God if you don't love yourself. So most women in our community suffer from a lack of self-love. This is why it's almost impossible to hold them accountable. It's almost impossible. But the root of it is a lack of self-love. If you don't love yourself, you can't be held accountable. Now, if you accompany a lack of self-love with the stroking of the female ego, now you have chaos. And so, let me get to this image of. And so when it gets to Kevin Samuels, the reason why he's controversial is not because he gets into it with women. It's not because he's rude to women. It's not because he's misogynistic. It's not because he's mean to women. It's not because he hates women. The reason why Kevin Samuels is so controversial is because he has a platform that counters feminism. I talk about feminism a lot because women don't check it. It's in the movies. It's in the schools. It's on the TV shows. It's in the music. It's in the fashion. It's in the makeup. Feminism is in every facet of our society, and nobody points it out or checks it. So that means the average woman, whether she likes it or not, is going to have bits of feminist seeds implanted into her psychology. I don't care who the woman is, she's going to have bits of feminism planted in her psychology because literally everything around her has feminism in it. Everything. And women don't check it because the woman's true nature is back in the garden. And that is the female ego. Now, a lot of conspiracies about how he died. And I see people saying, well, someone says he told some truth. If a person is talking to you, right, what do they owe you? Nothing but the truth. At the core of Kevin Samuels' message, and I've stated this several times, was us being married. 30-something% of the men in our community get married, and 20-something% of the women in our community get married. So at the core of his message, it was getting married. So at the end of the day, that should have had y'all pass the plate around on that. If the man said, be a baby, don't be a baby mother, be a wife, I don't understand how y'all could be offended. Don't be a baby mother, be a wife. But you would get offended by that because it goes against feminism. You need to submit to a man. That goes against feminism. You need to be married. That goes against feminism. So what I'm telling you all is, you all are upset with him because he lied to you. That's not why you're upset with him. You're not upset with him because he didn't tell you the truth. That's not why you're upset with him. You're upset with him because he's the lone voice against feminism. He's the voice against feminism, even though there are thousands of men that have platforms talking like Kevin Samuels. Even though I know many of men have been talking like Kevin Samuels for years. Like what he said isn't new, and it's not news. It's not. Women were just shocked that men thought like this because men for so long have been quiet. Because society tells men if you voice your opinion, you're being misogynistic and you're being toxic. So most men learn to be quiet. Most men learn to yield to feminism. So it isn't that Kevin Samuels is saying something that most men aren't thinking. He's saying what most men are thinking. The only difference is most men aren't in a position to speak how he speaks. And somebody said it, and now that he's gone, and if he's gone, if he is dead, watch how many of his videos go viral on some of his stances that he had. Because most people talking about he wasn't telling the truth, they're not sitting through a 3-hour show. Most people have based their perception, 99.9% of women that dislike Kevin Samuels have based their perception of him on clips. No woman is going to sit down and listen, most women are not going to sit down and listen to 3 hours of how they have to be held accountable. It's not going to happen. So most women disagreeing with Kevin Samuels have never actually watched a full show. Forget all his content, they've never actually watched a full show. And I have somebody here that just said his mother confirmed it. So I'm going to talk about also how in the scriptures, there was they had Jesus or Yeshua, the Jews brought him before the Romans, Pontius Pilate. And they said, we want you to crucify him. You say, why? Well, he say he the son of God. He say he the king of the Jews. He the son of God. We want you to crucify him. Now, keep in mind now, many of you people believe that Jesus, Yeshua, was perfect. So the scriptures tell us that he was perfect. And many of y'all believe it. So you believe that he was perfect, but his own people wanted him to be killed. Even Jesus said a prophet have no honor at home. What does that mean? What does it biblically mean for the Bible to say that a prophet has no honor at home? That means that the person that the people know and the person the people are supposed to love and listen to, when they bring a message to the people, they get rejected. This is in the scriptures. So if I base reality and real life on the scriptures, there's nobody coming to help our people that we're going to accept. There's nobody coming to help the world that the world will accept, because a prophet has no honor at home. That's not just about Jesus. That's for anybody having a message to help liberate any group of people. So we know on surface level and face value, most people coming to tell us the truth, they're going to be rejected. That's just how it is. Because with the truth comes accountability. Most folks that want to live in decadence don't want to be held accountable. And someone just said it. No one respects the truth teller because it involves accountability. Exactly. So again, Kevin Samuels isn't rejected because you sat down and watched a 3-hour show and made your assessment. Kevin Samuels is rejected because he's holding you accountable. And so everybody says, well, I don't agree with everything he said. You don't agree with everything that Joe Biden said, but you voted for him. You don't agree with everything that Kamala Harris said, but you endorsed her. You don't agree with everything a lot of people says, but y'all still support them. So why is it that agreeing with everything is a standard for Kevin Samuels, but nobody else? I'll tell you, because his message counters feminism. And at the core of it, most women have little bitty seeds of feminism planted in their psychology. Someone said that's why most artists get murdered in the city they're from. Exactly. Because a prophet has no honor at home. Now, am I saying that Kevin Samuels is a prophet? No. I'm saying that you didn't reject his message because he was lying to you. Because these rappers lie to you every day and you don't reject their message. The government lies to you every day and you don't reject their message. So lying to you isn't really a prerequisite for you rejecting the message. You get lied to every day. We get lied to every day. So clearly, we can't say that now lying is bad. We get lied to every day. The lies entertain, but the truth convicts. The lies entertain, but the truth convicts. This is why so many women wanted Kevin Samuels off of social media. It's not because he was lying. This is why those women went to the courthouse and filed petitions against Kevin Samuels, but wouldn't file petitions against the transgenders. There's been more legislative action taken against Kevin Samuels than there's actually transgenders taking over women's sports. Think about that. There's more legislative action taken towards getting Kevin Samuels off of social media than there has been getting the Transformers out of women's sports. How insane is that? How insane is that? That these women have more vitriol towards Kevin Samuels than an actual Transformer saying, I'm better than a woman.